How's it going, everybody? Today I combined all my Breaking Bad ranking videos into one big compilation. Now, I always liked whenever YouTubers did this sort of thing where they take a lot of videos that they've made about a certain topic or similar topics and combine them into one big video, so I'm going to do that today. This is technically my 1,000 subscribers special, if you want to think about it like that. Also, if you guys watch the channel a lot, I should probably mention that this is going to be my last Breaking Bad video for a while, because I am super burnt out of the Breaking Bad vids. I'm done with them. I just want to tackle other movies, video game, and TV show franchises. So if you're a fan of movie, TV shows, video games, all that sort of thing, you should definitely subscribe, because this is the channel for you. Now, I'm just going to apologize in advance. I asked to subscribe in every video because, unfortunately, I got to do this because, you see my sub count. I'm not that big of a channel. I'm just starting out pretty much. I'm 2 months in, so I have to ask for subscribers. I'm sorry if it gets annoying, but unfortunately, that's what I got to do. Alright, enough yapping, let's get into it. How's it going, everybody? Today we're going to be ranking every time Jesse gets beat up from worst to first. I should probably mention that Jesse gets beat up literally so much that I might have missed some, so if I missed any, let me know in the comments. Before we get into it though, if you liked the video, you should definitely like, subscribe, all that stuff that YouTubers tell you to do, because it would really help me out. I have goals of being big on YouTube one day, and I would appreciate it a lot. Okay, I think I got all I wanted to say out of the way, so let's get into the ranking. In last place, we have the time that Jesse got beat up by a porta potty. So this one's in last place. It's not really a physical fight, it's just he fell through a porta potty and just got absolutely devastated. I mean, that sucks, bro. The worst thing to come out of this is the fact that he probably smells like Huel's ball sack. But I'd say that's more of an honor than anything, you feel me? So yeah, he just fell through a porta potty and he's stinky now, that's about it. In the 13th place, we have the time that the skank, can I say that word? I don't know, but she hit him with the money bag. He got hit with a bottle, not a money bag. I'm thinking of Tuco with the money bag. But there's not that much to it. He just got hit with a bottle by that meth head woman. That's about it. Man, that woman was disgusting, bro. Holy. She made me think I was watching The Walking Dead. But yeah, she's pretty gross, and there's not that much to it, so I can't put it that high. He just got hit with a bottle. That woman looks like she runs on all fours and climbs on the ceiling and stuff. She's still not as weird and gross as Ted though. Alright, at number 12 we have the time that Walt hit Jesse with the fly saber. This one's up here this high just because I like the name Fly Saber. That was nice. Sure, it didn't hurt as much as the bottle to the head, or it wasn't pathetic as the, porta potty, but come on, it's a fly saber. It's cool. Also, why does Walt slap him so zesty, bro? There's no way the fly saber hurts that much. Fly is a banger episode, and if you disagree, you're an op. You guys just don't get peak, I guess. But yeah, it's a pretty good swing by Walt, and then Jesse gets his get back, and then they go after the fly again. It's a pretty cool back and forth. At number 11, we have the time when Jesse's mom slapped him. Imagine Jesse slapped back. She basically just slapped him. He was like, ow, how would you do that? And then got kicked out. There's not that much to it, but it's a pretty sad scene if we're being honest. Who does she think she is slapping my goat? So yeah, it's pretty boring, but it's really sad, so it's gonna be put up this high. Alright, at number 10, we got the time that Jesse got tased by Gus's men. Bro, he was just minding his business. Why'd you have to tase him like that? You could have saved that taser for Ted, bro. But yeah, this moment is the time that Jesse gets kidnapped for the 5th time. I feel like I don't have that much to talk about with these rankings, because I really don't, but come on, just bear with me here. This is not exactly a serious ranking. At number 9, we have the Crazy 8, Emilio, and the Rock combo. This is the scene in the pilot where Emilio, Crazy 8 find Walter in the RV, and he's like, you some kind of nudist or something? And then Jesse tries to run and then slips on the rock, and then gets a gun pointed at him by Emilio. Emilio is just kind of dumb, bro, I'm not gonna lie. Also, how did Jesse's eye get so messed up over a rock? I didn't think it'd be that swollen. It's the first beat up Jesse receives in this show, so I gotta put it that high, even though it's not that eventful. But it's still better than getting beat up by a carpet, unlike some people. At number 8, we have the time that Badger picked Jesse up and started swinging that boy around in the RV. This might be the coolest fight since Anakin versus Obi-Wan, bro. Badger just picks him up and starts doing a wedding dance with him and slams him into the glass. Badger's so goofy, bro. I love the guy. Jesse also does kind of win in the end, leaving Badger in Fallout New Vegas. It's a pretty good, very, very intense fight. It's also one of those rare moments where Jesse kind of wins in the end. It's a pretty good fight, so that's why it's at number 8. At number 7, we have this scene where Jade's dad is really mad at Jesse and throwing the guy around. To be fair to Jesse's favor, Jade's dad took a cheap shot. Bro was asleep. Also, bro, Jade's dad is kind of scary, though. He barges in the room like that. And Jade's screaming through the whole thing. Makes it more intense, you feel me? Also, did Jade's dad call him a miserable little smackhead? Did I hear that wrong? Dude, am I tripping, or does Jade's dad kind of look like an Angry Bird, dude? Oh my god, I see it now. Also, a weapon comes out at the end. And Jesse told him he was seriously gonna bust him up, and that's cool. If that's not cool and intimidating, I don't know what is. I mean, like, Jesse turned a fight into, like, a sexual thing, I think. I mean, like, he's gonna bust him up? That sounds kind of weird. Sorry for the lame joke. Also, I love how Jade's dad charges at Jesse whenever Jesse's literally holding a baseball bat. Bro has no fear. Either he charged at it or he got shot from a slingshot, I'm not sure. Also, Jade's dad called him a scumbag. Like, what kind of 1940s insult is that? Scumbag. You scumbag smackhead. Little twerp. Alright, you get the point. It's number 7. I think it's a perfect middle ground. At number 6, we have the scene where Tuco beats up Jesse with the bag of money. This scene is such a good introduction to Tuco because dude is actually him. Like, from this moment on, every single scene that Tuco's in, the moment you see him on your screen, you pucker your booty hole a little bit. You're like, oh, it's going down. It's still, again, better than getting beat up by a carpet. But still, that sucks, bro. Getting beat up with a bag of money. It did lead to one of the coolest moments in Season 2, though, with the "this is not meth" scene. Tuco might be the scariest Breaking Bad villain other than like Lalo, but I'm not including Lalo because that's a Better Call Saul. So in Breaking Bad alone, I think Tuco's the scariest. And this was such a good introduction again because it showed you how scary Tuco could be. But other than that, there's not that much weight to it, so that's why it's number 6. At number 5, we have Walt versus Jesse in Jesse's house. This fight's so goofy, but it's like after such a sad moment, this feels like two little toddlers fighting. It is one of the more entertaining fights in the show, I will say. I like the part where Jesse picked up the lamp and smashed it against Walt. That was good. There's also a lot of goofy noises. Jesse just keeps doing the entire time, and then Walt's like, ow! It is one of the most entertaining fights in the entire show, and that's why it's so high up. Also, it's another fight where Jesse does technically kind of win. Alright, you get the point. On to the next ranking. At number 4, we have Jesse getting beat up by the neo-Nazis. This is probably the saddest one on this list and the most tragic. Jesse probably thought he was going to spend the rest of his life cooking meth just so Todd could crack Lydia. Which Todd was never going to be able to crack Lydia, so he was just going to be cooking meth his whole life and living in a hole. But for real, this has to be the worst point in Jesse's life. I mean, bro actually looks like a pirate by the time he escapes. And I'm super glad Jesse got a semi-happy ending in the end, because he deserved it more than anybody. But this was definitely the saddest beating Jesse received, because it goes on for like a month or two. Never mind, it was closer to 6 months, not 1 to 2 months. That's awful. Okay, you get the point though. This is probably the saddest one, but not the most entertaining. I have to put it high because it's one of the worst he receives, but I don't want to put it that high. At number 3, we have Jesse versus Walt in the RV. Now, this is the first time Walt and Jesse have a full-on fight, and it's pretty entertaining. Walt's just flaming Jesse before they fight, and in return, Jesse like grabs Walt's head and bangs it against the box. Also, for the 3rd time, this is a fight that Jesse technically wins. And that's good, we love it whenever Jesse wins here. At number 2, we have the scene where Hank barges into Jesse's house and just goes ham on the guy. This is the scene after the fake out with Marie. This is probably the worst he ever got beaten up in the entire show. Dude, Hank charging at you like that's gotta be scary. Hank's built like a mini P.E.K.K.A, bro. He will mess you up. Poor Jesse, bro. He ain't even do none. But this beat up is actually pretty significant to the plot, because it results in Jesse being in the hospital and then Jesse giving Walt that speech about how he doesn't want to work with him. So yeah, this is probably the most iconic beat up Jesse ever received. And it's one of the few moments where we see Hank just go crazy and beat someone up. But it's only number 2. It's not the best. The best beat up Jesse ever received is with Tuco in Tuco's house. Dude, this fight is absolutely insane. Tuco's just throwing Jesse everywhere. It also results in Jesse shooting Tuco and Walt holding a gun, which looks goofy. So, I mean, technically, if you think about it, Jesse did win in the end despite, going through it. It's definitely the most entertaining Jesse fight, beat up, whatever you want to call it, in the entire show. And Aaron Paul actually did get a concussion in this fight. It's just so fun, bro. I could watch this scene on repeat, and it's just great every time. And it led into Tuco's death. Dude, the episode Grilled is a top 5 episode of Breaking Bad. Also, I just thought about it. What if I do like a top 10 Breaking Bad episode ranking? That'd be pretty nice. Okay, so that's about it for the ranking. Also, I should probably reiterate that I am not exclusively a Breaking Bad channel. I've been in a very Breaking Bad mood recently, so I'm going to be making some Breaking Bad videos, but that's not all I'm going to do. Also, I really want to do a Walking Dead video, but I already did a poll and I already know what my next video is going to be. If you want to know what that is, just check the poll. Also, join the Discord if you just want to talk or send me some video suggestions. It would mean a lot. You should definitely subscribe, like the video if you watch this far. It would really help me out a lot and I would appreciate it. If you watch this far, that means a lot because that means my content's at least somewhat worth watching. Other than that, I think that's about it. So thank you for watching. It means a lot. And I'll see you guys in the next upload. How's it going, everybody? Today we're going to be ranking every main character death in all of Breaking Bad from worst to first. I should probably mention that this is just Breaking Bad, not Better Call Saul. Before we get into the ranking though, if you like the video, you should definitely like, subscribe, all that stuff the YouTubers tell you to do, because it would really help me out a lot and I would appreciate it very much. We're almost at 1,000 subs and that's absolutely crazy to me, and you can help out and I would appreciate it a lot. Okay, I think I got all my yapping out of the way, so let's get into the ranking. In last place, we have the guy from Home Alone, Declan. I literally forgot Declan died until I saw a clip of Jack shooting him. Also, I gotta be real, I don't really like Declan. I think that dude's a loser. Not as much as a loser as Ted though. Also, the fact that I don't even remember that Declan died hurts it a lot. Also, why did Declan not play dead, bro? He's an idiot! The best part about Declan's death was Jack going, "Fire in the hole!" So yeah, Declan's death is just kinda lame. At number 28, we have the balding man himself, Juan Bolza. Now, if you watch my villain ranking, you know that I don't really care for Juan Bolza that much. Juan Bolza is this soy boy Don Eladio. We don't even see Juan Bolza die, we just hear it. That's lame. I feel like Juan Bolza is the type of guy to be like, "Where's my hug at?" when he's talking to a girl. Actually, scratch that. Juan Bolza never talks to girls. I feel like Juan Bolza is the type of guy to go on those Fit X Fearless podcasts.
Like, I feel like these girls, they want Duke Dennis. They don't want me. It's not fair.
Oh, shut the hell up.
If you get the reference, definitely like the video. But yeah, I think you get my point. I don't hate Juan Bolza nearly as much as I hate Ted, but I still don't care for the guy, and his death scene is really lame. At number 27, we have the guy from Despicable Me 2, Gonzo. Gonzo wants to meet your padre, and he died by getting his hand stuck in a car in a scrapyard. I feel like nobody really remembers Gonzo's death, although I will say, this is the first death on the list that I actually do like. All these deaths from now on are really good. And we still have 26 to talk about, not including this one. Also, Gonzo's death contributes like nothing to the plot. I did actually like Gonzo quite a bit, so it sucks to see him get killed off like this, but his death is just not as good as the other ones coming up. At number 26, we have Gus's gay boyfriend, Max. Now, I know it's not canon that they're gay, but I mean, come on. Max's death is probably the driving force of why Gus hates Hector so much. Or it's at least what kicked off Gus's hatred for Hector. Like, dude, they were just chilling, and then Hector absolutely slimes Max, and then Don Eladio throws Max to the ground next to Gus, and gives like a whole evil villain monologue. The shock of Max's death really brings this scene up, because I knew that Max was gonna die in that scene, but it still caught me off guard. But this is like the only scene that Max is in for the whole show, so I can't put him that high because he's not an important character at all. Actually, the more I think about it, this scene in Max's death is actually more significant than I originally thought. If you think about it, Max's death eventually led to Gus's death because Gus wanted to personally kill Hector, which obviously, you know what happens from there. We'll get to that later in the video. Am I tripping, or does Max and Crazy 8 look kind of similar? At number 25, we have the man that looks like a deep sea fish, Combo. Combo's death started a chain reaction that caused so many plot elements to happen that people forgot about. To be fair, Combo has a pretty decent death, but you guys gotta understand something. If I put Combo's death higher, that means I have to put another person's death lower, and I just can't do that. The most disturbing part about Combo's death is the fact that the kid shot his lean cup. Lucky would not approve. So while Combo's death was very important, the scene itself and his overall death is not that eventful. So I'm going to put it a little bit low. I say a little bit low. This is one of the lowest spots. But just because the death is low does not mean it's bad. At number 24, we have Wood Chipper Coochie. Now, Lydia's death was so satisfying. I hated Lydia. I have some people say that, like, Lydia's their mommy. Dude, what is wrong with you? Lydia's not it. Like, in a world with Jane and Huel, you choose Lydia? The best part about Lydia was the fact that Todd was obsessed with her. So it was so satisfying whenever we found out that Lydia was poisoned and she was gonna die. But the fact that we didn't actually see her die bumps this down quite a bit. At number 23, we have the man himself, Don Eladio. Now we're getting into the pretty good deaths. Watching Gus get revenge on the whole cartel was so satisfying to watch, if I'm being honest, at least for me. I'm gonna be honest, I actually liked Gus. There were a few times where I actually, despised Gus. I thought Gus was a pretty cool guy, other than that whole box cutter thing, which we'll get to. So yeah, Gus is a really bad guy, but I also kind of like the guy. The main reason why he's a villain is because he's Walt's villain. Back to Don Eladio though, he got poisoned and then fell into the very pool that he pinned Gus against. Also, why is Don Eladio always at a pool? Like, this dude's always running pool parties. I was gonna make a cartel joke, but I realized that I might regret that. At number 22, we have Emilio! Emilio is the first death in Breaking Bad, and he's Walt's first murder in Breaking Bad. The reason why his death is bumped so much up is the whole bathtub thing, which I know that's not technically a death scene, but I'm gonna include it as a part of his death scene because it's more fun that way. But Emilio got gassed in that whole tricking Crazy 8 scene, which that scene made me fall in love with Breaking Bad. I don't know how people watch the first episode of Breaking Bad and go, yeah, it's boring. Like, if you think the first episode of Breaking Bad's boring, you got bigger problems to worry about, bro. Alright, at number 21, we have my boy Todd killing the dirt bike kid. Classic Todd W. Nah, but this is what made Todd a villain. Like, nobody really thought of Todd as a villain until this scene, because bro killed a kid, dude. I absolutely love villains that have, no emotions, that are just complete psychopaths. I think Todd is a great villain, because you'll almost, start to root for the guy, and then he'll remind you why he's a villain. But, yeah, that dirt bike kid's death was absolutely insane. And everybody's jaws dropped just like Jesse's after they watched that. Low-key, Todd ain't do anything wrong, bro. The kid low-key deserved it. W Todd in the comments. At number 20, I watched Jane die. Jane's death was absolutely tragic, but after rewatching season 2, Jane was low-key a jerk, bro. Like, she didn't really care about Jesse until the moment money came up. Then all of a sudden, no, let's go to New Zealand. But guess what? Jane's a baddie, so it doesn't matter. And watching a baddie die is always gonna tug at your heartstrings. I like Jane. I mess with Jane. Other than the fact that she was mean to Jesse, because Jesse's my favorite character. So seeing her die and seeing Jesse deal with her death was heartbreaking, dude. And that's what brings her death up on the list. If only Ted could have overdosed to death as Walt watches. Alright, at number 19, we have the biggest meat rider in the galaxy. Nodos! Just remember who you're working for. Nodos' death was a perfect way to end off season 1. Bro legit got killed by his homeboy for riding him too hard. And I feel like my homeboys would do the same thing if I rode them too hard, so I can relate to Nodos on that. But Nodos was calling Walt and Jesse stupid, and Tuco had to take care of that. Classic Tuco W. I love Tuco, bro. Tuco is the best Salamanca other than Lalo, but even then I think it's close. Alright, at number 18 we have Tortuga! Bro got the cartel special, other than the fact that his head was put on a tortoise with a bomb on it. I can't really confirm that that's cartel behavior. Actually, what am I talking about? That's totally cartel behavior. But Tortuga, bro, got beheaded, stuffed a bomb in his head, and then got put on a tortoise, which then would explode and kill a bunch of DEA members. Like, oh my god. I guess Tortuga's never heard the saying, snitches get beheaded and put on turtles. At number 17, this isn't personal, we got Andrea. Now the reason Andrea's death is so good is because of Jesse's reaction. This low-key might be Aaron Paul's best performance in the entire show. And this is really the turning point to where I went from like, yeah, get him Todd, shoot that kid, to, oh, I don't like Todd anymore. And then Todd got fat, and I hated him even more. Andrea and Brock were literally all Jesse had left. And at the end of Breaking Bad, Brock is basically all Jesse has left. Also, one thing I love from El Camino is seeing Jesse's letter to Brock. El Camino is a fire movie. If you disagree, I completely understand. I'm not going to say you're not. Also, this scene made me hate Jack so much more. And all of his Kanye people. Alright, at number 16, you some kind of nudist or something? We have Crazy 8. If you think about it, Crazy 8 got put in a maybe even worse situation than Jesse did. I mean, he was probably getting choked out 24/7. But at least Crazy 8 got put out of his misery pretty fast. Unlike Jesse, Jesse, whenever he got captured, I could not think of a worse situation. But at the same time, at least Jesse could move to some extent. Yeah, sure, he was on a chain, but Crazy 8 was literally had like a choker around him. He had that bicycle lock. And Crazy 8 is what most people genuinely consider, even though Emilio is technically his first murder, Crazy 8 is his first real hands-on murder. And Walt's reaction is relatable because, if you killed somebody for the first time, you would feel devastated, dude. At least I think you would. You could be like Todd. Dude, as long as you're not like Ted, bro, you're all good. Now at number 15, we have Steve Gomez. I know what you're thinking. Since Steve Gomez is low, is Hank gonna be low? Spoiler, but no. The thing I hate about Gomez's death the most is the fact that it just gets brushed over by Hank's. Yeah, sure, the whole scene was about Hank's death, not Gomez's, but can we get some RIP Gomies in the chat, man? Gomi, he was a great guy. I loved Gomi. And he died and just never got brought up again. In his death scene, Hank just looks over and he's already dead. We didn't really see him die. So I would probably put this lower, but since it's Gomi and I want to give Gomi some love, I'm going to put it at 15. At number 14, we have the neo-Nazis. It is one of the coolest scenes in Breaking Bad. Machine Gun pops out of the trunk and just starts mowing people down. It was the perfect climax for the show. What can I say about this scene that hasn't already been said? I don't have that much to add. It's one of the coolest scenes in the entire show. But next up at 13, we have a guy that died in the same exact scene, Jack. I didn't group him in with the other guys because isn't it obvious? Jack had a whole final monologue and he was cut out by Walt the same way that Hank was cut out by Jack. And the way Walt kills Jack is super cool. I did always think it was goofy how he popped that cigarette in his mouth. He's like, yeah, you wanna know where your buddy is? Oh, Jack, you little doofus. Alright, at number 12, we have another guy that died in the exact same scene, Todd. Watching Jesse finally get his revenge on Todd, especially after watching El Camino, was so satisfying. And watching him choke Todd out and kill him with the same chains that Todd used to enslave him was great. Alright, at number 11, we have the Salamanca twins. The Salamanca twins' fight with Hank is one of the highlights of the entire show. But I do have one problem with their death. Bro, at least pick up Hank and take him with you, or just get him away from the bullet on the ground, dude. You know he has plot armor, bro. Just break that plot armor and shoot him and just get it over with. You absolute dummy. But other than that, their death is so cool, and their whole shootout with Hank is so fire.
Bravo, Vince.
Alright, at number 10, we have yet another Salamanca with Tuco. If you guys have watched some of my Breaking Bad ranking videos, you guys probably know that I love the episode Grilled. Grilled is a top 5 episode in the entire show. Tuco's shootout with Hank is shorter than the Salamanca twins one, but his fight with Jesse and Walt is so good. I really want to put this one higher, but like I said early in the video, if I put this one higher, I have to put another one lower, and I just can't do that. So just keep in mind that the rest of these deaths are absolute masterpieces as we're entering the top 10. Alright, at number 9, we have the ATM guy, Spooge. Now, bro is a mid character, but oh my god, his death is insane. I mean, he literally got killed by a whisperer from The Walking Dead. That ATM scene makes me cringe every time. It is so hard to watch, but it is such a good death scene. The way his hand keeps drilling after he gets the ATM crushed on his face is horrible. It is definitely one of the highlights of Season 2. At number 8, we have the GTA NPC experience guys, the rival dealers. Half Measure and Full Measure are so good. I'd expect this scene to get old and stale after a bit, but every single time I watch this scene, it just gets better and better. The first time I watched this scene, I just sat there with my jaw dropped. It was crazy. The way Walt runs them over and dude's trying to crawl away for his life, and then Walt absolutely slimes him like JFK was insane. Legit one of the best scenes in the entire show. At number 7, we have the man himself, Gale Bedecker. Poor Gale, bro. I love Gale, other than the fact that he's an alleged EDP. It's just a theory. Speaking of theories, you should watch my Breaking Bad theory video. Gale's death is one of the saddest moments in the entire show. And knowing that Jesse did not want to do it, he did not want to kill him, but he had no choice, was just so depressing. And Gale pleading for his life, saying he doesn't have to do this, that was so heartbreaking too. Gale genuinely seems like a great guy, and it's horrible what happened to him. Gale's death is legit one of the most iconic moments in the entire show. And again, Combo's death did kind of lead into Gale's death, because if Combo didn't get killed by the 11-year-old, Jesse wouldn't have gotten involved with the 11-year-old, and then if the 11-year-old got slimed, and then the rival dealers were going to slime Jesse, and then Walt slimed them, and then Jesse slimed Gale to save Walt. If you guys don't know what the word slime means, that's really awkward. It just means killed. Wow, I legit just said slime like 100 times in one recording. Alright, at number 6, Walter. Why did you shoot me, Walter? We have Mike. Now, I'm conflicted about how I feel about Mike's final speech to Walt. He was wrong about a lot of things, right about a lot of things, but we could all agree that Mike's death was heartbreaking. The whole scene leading up to Mike's death was heartbreaking too. He had to leave his family, leave his granddaughter at the park to leave from the police, and he did all that just to get killed by Walt. Mike is the only person that truly saw Walt for what he was, except for like Gus. And Mike literally got killed because he hurt Walt's ego. And this is the moment in the show where people start to root against Walt. Although I never rooted against Walt because I'm a day one. And Walt's final moments was absolutely amazing.
Bravo, Vince.
Alright, at number 5, we have the boss man, Asek Schrader. We got Hank. Hank's death might be the saddest in the show, for being honest. I think everybody either teared up or cried at the end of Ozymandias. Poor Hank, bro. I loved Hank. And he died like an absolute boss. And I just absolutely despise Jack. So seeing Hank get killed by Jack hurt so much more. Hank's death is also one of the most iconic moments in the entire show, obviously. I mean, I'm saying that like you guys don't know that. I absolutely love Hank. He died like a boss, and his death was absolutely heartbreaking and one of the most memorable moments in the entire show. I think everybody expected this death to be top 5. Alright, at number 4, we have a 2-in-1 combo, Hector and Tyrus. Now, I know what you're thinking. Where's Gus? We'll get to Gus in a second. Gus has his own little moment, so we're going to rank him higher. But, oh my god, this moment in Breaking Bad, absolute cinema. Hector finally got his revenge on Gus for all that mental torture Gus put on him. And while Hector was a bad guy and didn't deserve a happy ending, this is about as happy as it gets. I absolutely love it for the guy. I root for Hector, bro. I like Hector. He reminds me of a Mexican Tony Soprano. And Tyrus died too, but that's not really important. Nobody talks about Tyrus dying. Everybody talks about the big two, Hector and Gus, which Hector didn't really get his own walkout. You could see his blown off leg in like the newspaper, but other than that, that's about it. But this is probably the most iconic moment in the entire show. The whole scene, including Gus's walkout. It was such a perfect way for Hector to go out, and Tyrus too, I guess. I mean, are there any hardcore Tyrus fans out there?
Bravo, Vince.
Alright, entering the top 3, at number 3, we have Victor. This scene, I still think about it sometimes, man. Oh my god. So I gotta be honest with you, by the time I got to season 4 of Breaking Bad, I got spoiled for so much stuff in the show. I already knew what was gonna happen to Walt, what was gonna happen to Jesse, how Gus was gonna die. I already knew all of that, but I did not know what was gonna happen with Victor. And oh my god, I expected everything except for that. Poor Victor, bro. Victor's like the most mid character there is, but his death is absolutely brutal. And this is the first time I really feared Gus, you know? Gus went from this like preppy drug businessman to literally the devil. I didn't know Gus had that muscle on him too. Bro's been hitting the gym. But I think everybody had the same exact reaction whenever Victor died. Like, I didn't really care for Victor that much, but oh my god, I did not wish this on you. It might be the most brutal death in the entire show. And the whole scene is such well execution, and it is so hard to watch. I'm not gonna hit you guys with another bravo, Vince.
Just kidding, bravo, Vince.
What can I say about this scene that isn't already said? One of the greatest scenes in the entirety of Breaking Bad, builds tension so well, and it still finds a way to shock you. Alright, at number 2 we have Walter. Walt's death is so perfect. I love Felina. It is my favorite Breaking Bad episode. And just something about Walt, seeing Walt kind of win in the end, even though he didn't really deserve that happy of an ending. But seeing Walt win, at least a little bit in the end, was so satisfying. He tied up all the loose ends, and he died with honor. And he finally freed Jesse from the Kanye people. And not to mention Baby Blue playing in the background. Yeah, banger! This was such a perfect ending for Walt. I keep reiterating myself. I'm talking like you guys don't know that this is perfect. We all know that this scene is perfect. Walt's death is amazing. I love everything about it. Dude died perfectly, but it is not the best. With a little bit of foreshadowing and process of elimination, you've probably figured out that number 1 is Gustavo Fring, the Chicken Man. I probably won't talk about this one as much as some of the other ones since I already talked about, Hector and Tyrus, but I'll talk about Gus's walkout. This is the most famous moment in the entire show, and the way he walked out, everybody thought bro was still alive. And then you see his face, and he looks like the Revenant from Doom. I mean, like, what can I say that you don't already know? It speaks for itself, just look at it. Sure, it's not realistic, but who cares, bro? It's Breaking Bad. I've seen so many people complain about the realism. It's like, bro, just go watch a documentary or something, dude, not Breaking Bad. Gus's death, absolute cinema. And for one last time,
Bravo, Vince.
alright, that's about it for the ranking. Thank you guys for watching. If you watched this far, that's absolutely amazing. I appreciate you so much. That means my content's at least somewhat worth watching, and that's okay with me. Let's see if we can hit 1,000 subs by the end of March. If we don't, we'll hit it at, closer to the beginning of April, so I'm not that worried about it. I apologize if I missed any entries, and if I didn't talk about each entry with the length that I usually do. I'm recording this all in one day. I got school tomorrow, bro. I gotta worry about all that. So, hopefully YouTube works out so I can put all my free time into YouTube, because I wouldn't mind, bro. I absolutely love doing this. So if you watch this far, like the video, subscribe. I would appreciate it a lot. Join the Discord. Link will be in the bio. And again, thank you for watching. It means so much. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next upload. How's it going, everybody? Today we're going to be making a Breaking Bad theory tier list. So what that means is we're going to look through some Breaking Bad theories. I have a few picked out, and we're going to be rating them on an S to F tier scale. Before we get into it though, if you liked the video, you should definitely subscribe, like the video, all that stuff that YouTubers tell you to do, because it would really help me out a lot, and I would appreciate it very much. It would really help me out. Other than that, I think I have all that I want to say out of the way, so let's get into the Breaking Bad theory tier list. We're going to start off with the theory that Breaking Bad and Walking Dead take place in the same universe. So, do you guys remember that scene in Season 2 of The Walking Dead where they're in that big traffic jam and then Glenn finds that water truck? It was right before Sophie ran away. But in this scene, Daryl pulls out a bag of what looks like Walt's blue meth. And this is just one connection between the two franchises, there's a few more. But AMC took this theory, bent it over, and spanked it. Because The Walking Dead begins around the same time that Better Call Saul ends in the timeline. But in a dream world, The Walking Dead and Breaking Bad exist in the same universe, and Ted got eaten alive by zombies. But, you know, maybe Huel and Morgan are the same guy. Not making that connection for any specific reason. But if you want my opinion, I think that The Walking Dead outbreak took place right after Better Call Saul ended. Some Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul producers said that they take place in the same universe as The Walking Dead, so take that. So in my own headcanon, I believe that they do take place in the same universe because it's more fun that way. I'm gonna give this theory a B tier. I think B tier is fair. I like whenever they do these show or movie crossovers in the same universe. I think it makes it much more interesting, you feel me? The next theory we got is Gale is a pedo. Ew! I mean, like, I love Gale, but he does kind of look like a pedo. I mean, like, no offense or anything. I mean, like, come on now. You can't look at Gale and be like, yeah, that guy's cracking buns. Now, people use that karaoke video as evidence that he's an EDP. I'm going to say EDP because I don't know how YouTube feels about me saying pedo. Now, is there any evidence to this karaoke video being linked to that? No, they just think it's weird and like EDP behavior, which it is really big EDP behavior. But, I mean, come on, I don't really think that Gale would do that. I mean, Gale seems like a chill dude. I think this theory is literally just based off the fact that he looks like an EDP. And he already had a record with the police, and in his mugshot, he really does look like an EDP. Like, I mean, look at him. This guy looks like a cult leader. Like Charles Manson over here making karaoke videos and cooking up blue meth. Now, is Gale an EDP? I think there's a chance, but it's like a 10% chance. I don't really think he is. And you slandered on his name with no real evidence. That's not good. I don't appreciate that at all. And I feel like whenever Hank was talking with Walt about Gale, he would have mentioned that, you know, Gale was a diddler. You need to stop slandering my boy Gale's name, unless he is an EDP. Then he's not my boy. But for now, he's not. So he's my boy. Yeah, let's go. I'm giving this theory an F tier. You don't slander my boy's name without good evidence. The next theory we have is that Breaking Bad is all a dream. Oh, brother. I'm so tired of these dream theories, bro. There's literally no chance this is even remotely true. You got 2 spin-offs about this with different characters. This is not a dream, dude. Like, just admit it. You're just fishing out here for theories that make no sense. Come on. Dream theories always ruin everything. Like, imagine at the end of Breaking Bad, at the end of Felina, whenever Walt dies, spoiler. But imagine after Walt died, Jesse just wakes up in Walt's class and he dreamt the whole thing. That would actually make me want to slime Vince Gilligan. Dream theories always find a way to ruin everything about a show. But good news, Better Call Saul and El Camino debunks this theory, so thank God. Also, if it was just a dream, then that would mean that Ted would be living fine and he wouldn't be injured. We can't be having that. We need Ted to suffer. Absolute F tier theory, the lowest F tier I could possibly give. The next one we have is Skyler's self-exit game. I don't know if I could say the S word. Look at this picture of Skyler in the finale. Do you notice anything here? It looks like Skyler's, how do I word this without YouTube getting mad? Rage quit. She rage quit with a rope, if you know what I'm saying. So apparently this shot was done by like complete accident. They didn't realize that it looked like that. So is this theory true? Probably not. But I could see why Skyler would do that, you know? So everybody likes to hate on Skyler. I'll hate on Skyler sometimes as a joke, but I don't genuinely hate Skyler. Because Skyler's been through so much in this show, dude. Like, people need to understand, okay? Skyler was manipulated by her husband. She lost everything, everyone. And she was left with nothing but her kids. Like, that's bad. But I do think Skyler would hold on and keep going for her kids. I don't think she would have done that. But Skyler's fate is still unknown to this day, so maybe she did. We might be able to find out about Skyler's fate in Better Fuel Huel. I'm going to give this theory a C tier. I think C tier is fair. Because it's kind of believable, but also not believable. It's in that perfect middle ground, so that's why it's going C tier. Now this next one is less than a theory than it is an actual fact. Walt mimics those he kills. Let's start off with Crazy 8. Crazy 8 didn't like the crust on his sandwiches, and after Walt kills Crazy 8, Walt always takes the crust off of his sandwiches. Mike always liked ice in his drinks, but after Walt kills Mike, Walt all of a sudden likes ice in his drinks where he didn't before. After Walt killed Gus, Walt starts acting a lot like Gus with his demeanor. So this is less than a theory and just a fact that maybe got overlooked. Now, if it was actually an intentional thing that Walt does in the show, I'm not sure at all. But it's listed as a theory, so we're going to include it as a theory. But I think this is a really cool theory, so I'm going to give it an A tier. I don't know why he didn't mimic Hector though. The next theory we got is Walt is actually still alive. Now whenever Walt's laying on the floor of the meth lab with a bullet in his stomach, a lot of people think that he actually was still alive and he was faking it. Yeah, bro was definitely faking it. Bro didn't die, he's the main character, he can't die, come on. Because a lot of people think that Walter White was at least still alive and he didn't have an on-screen death. Since he didn't have an on-screen death, that must mean he's still alive, right? Despite this theory being disproved in El Camino, I still think it's a really fun and interesting theory because I always love these just crazy theories that make no sense. Like, we literally watched him get shot and die, but you know, like, maybe he's still alive. I mean, like, maybe he didn't really get shot and die even though we saw him die, but like, you know, it's a pretty fun theory. I like it. I'm gonna give it a B tier. The next theory we got is that the finale is just a hallucination. Now, Felina is my favorite episode in all of Breaking Bad, probably. But most people agree that things went a little too well for Walt. Like, bro went to 3 different places in the span of like 10 minutes. And he does get insanely lucky every time. And so a lot of people think that it goes so well because it's not real, it's just his imagination. I've seen 2 different theories about this. One, he died to cancer in that little cabin he was in. And 2, he died of hypothermia in that car he was in at the beginning of Felina. And the rest of Felina is just him dreaming out his dream situation. Again, for like the 3rd time, this theory got disproven in Better Call Saul and El Camino. But still, it's fun to think about, come on now. But maybe Walt faked his death in the cabin and then went on to kill Jack and then fake his death again. But then turns out it was all just a dream. And in this dream, Huel killed Ted. At least hopefully, I mean, that'd be the best situation. My biggest complaint with Breaking Bad is that we didn't watch Ted die. We weren't there. We didn't watch him choke and overdose to death. I don't know if you guys could tell or not, but I really do not like Ted. I'm going to give this theory a C tier. I think that's pretty fair, come on. Oh no, I forgot I had this next theory written down. Oh no. So, I was just talking about Ted, right? Now, what if Ted was Walt Jr.'s real father? That's awful. I hate everything about this. Before we can even get into the theory, this is an F tier. Oh. What kind of madman thought of this theory? Like, what goes through your head to think of this? I don't like it. I don't like it. I do like the theory that Hector is Walt Jr.'s real father. That's pretty nice and makes sense, too. Not for any specific reason why I think Hector is Walt Jr.'s father, but just don't think about it too much. I don't want to talk about this theory anymore. I was going to talk about it some more, but I really don't want to, so F tier next. I hate this theory. It sucks. This is the worst theory. The next theory we have is that Gus was working with the CIA. This theory states that Gus was groomed by the CIA to infiltrate the cartel and rise to power. The reason why the CIA would do this is that it would give the CIA more control of the drug trade. I actually really like this one. I think it's really interesting and a kind of a different view on Gus's character. Vince Gilligan purposely made Gus's past a mystery to add intrigue to Gus's character. Don Eladio purposely did not kill Gus because Don Eladio said, "I know who you are." Now, this could be referring to the fact that Gus works with the CIA and Don Eladio knows that, so he can't kill him because he works for the CIA. Now, is this kind of a shot in the dark? Yeah, but I really like this theory. I think it's really interesting. And they purposely chose meth because if they sold more meth, the CIA could reduce Escobar's power in Colombia. And I want to give credit where credit is due. I don't know how you say the name. Zyanon36 on Reddit, he came up with this theory, so I just want to say shout out to him. I'm actually thinking about giving this theory S tier. I think it is super interesting, and I like how it ties into some real life elements, and it's believable. It's a believable theory. Is it true? Nobody really knows, and that adds intrigue and mystery to it, which I really like. Do you guys think that Gus being gay is like a CIA experiment? But yeah, it's a great theory. Let's get on to the next one. We have another Gus theory, which this one's less of a theory than it is kind of true depending on how you look at it. Gus killed Victor for being seen. Now, why would Gus kill one of his close henchmen just to prove a point? Like, he'd be absolutely stupid for that, right? So a lot of people think that Gus mainly killed Victor for being seen at Gale's crime scene. Which it definitely was a reason why Gus killed Victor, but people think it is the main and only reason. Because to be fair, it would be extremely stupid to kill a henchman over nothing. But I do think that Gus mainly killed Victor for being seen at the crime scene, and in return he was killing two birds with one stone. He got rid of the loose end, and he was proving a point and sending a message to Walt and Jesse. I'm giving this one an A tier because I do actually believe this theory. Okay, we have one more theory, and the theory is Walt faked his second cancer diagnosis. So Walt's second cancer diagnosis did kind of come out of nowhere, and it came at a time where he could actually use it to manipulate those around him. And so, with all this information, people think that he faked his second cancer diagnosis just to manipulate those around him. I don't actually believe this theory though, because you can see Walt dealing with the effects of the cancer in Granite State and Felina. I do think it is a really interesting theory, but I just don't believe it, so I have to put it D tier. And I'm mainly putting it in D tier because we don't have an entry in D tier yet, and I want to fill them all up, and D tier I think is fair. But I don't think Walt was faking his second cancer diagnosis, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so that was the last theory. If this video does really well, I'll do a part 2, because there is quite a bit of theories I didn't talk about. I didn't want to talk about it too long because I'm trying to get these videos out pretty quickly. If you watched this far, you should definitely subscribe, like the video. It would really help me out. Join the Discord too if you want to. You could put like video suggestions or just chat in there. Also, keep in mind, I am not exclusively a Breaking Bad channel. I make a lot of Breaking Bad videos. I like making these Breaking Bad videos. But I make videos about all kinds of TV shows, movies, video games, all that kind of stuff. So if you like all those, you should definitely subscribe. But other than that, I think I've got everything I wanted to say out of the way. So thank you for watching. It means a lot. And I'll see you guys in the next upload. How's it going, everybody? Today we are going to be ranking every bald character in Breaking Bad from worst to first. Before we get into it though, if you liked the video, you should definitely subscribe. I have goals of being big on YouTube one day, and I would appreciate it a lot. It would really help me out. Also, I made a Discord for the channel, so if you want to join that, the link will be in the bio. Other than that, I think I got all I needed to say out of the way, so let's get into every bald character in Breaking Bad ranked from worst to first. Starting off the list, this guy sucks. We have Ted. He's only bald for one scene too. He's a fake bald. He's a wannabe. This guy sucks. Everybody knows it. He's my least favorite Breaking Bad character. At least one of my least favorite. Shout out to that carpet for defeating Ted. But like, you're a grown man and you get beat by a carpet? That's embarrassing. And again, you're only bald for one scene. You suck. You're not even a real bald. So yeah, Ted sucks. Everybody hates Ted. I hate Ted. And he's a fake bald on top of that, just to add insult to injury. So that's why he's in the last place. At number 11, we have my boy Gonzo. He's just a chill dude. He doesn't do a single thing other than getting his hand stuck in a machine. But Gonzo not doing a single thing the whole series is still better than Ted. And Tuco's chill with Gonzo, and I love Tuco. Gonzo just seems like a chill guy. I mean, what else can I say? And he's definitely better than Ted. Ew. At number 10, we have the meat riding king, Nodos. I mean, Nodos literally got killed for meat riding too hard. That's crazy. This guy meat rides Tuco more than Dana White meat rides John Jones. And I didn't even think that was possible. Like, this guy's breaking new ground here. Poor Nodos, bro. He ain't even do anything. He's just meat riding a little bit. And as a fellow meat rider, I can really relate to Nodos. I be meat riding, bro. It was a shame for Nodos to get killed off that early because he seemed like such a cool character the way he meat rides like that. Rest in peace, Nodos, in the chat. At number 9, we have a guy that's 97% bald, so he might be breaking some rules here. He's not fully bald, but it's Combo. I mean, come on, look at his hair. He's basically bald. Combo seems like the ultimate bro. He doesn't do anything but walk around with his little lean double cup and get shot by kids. Other than the fact that Combo looks like a deep sea fish, he's a really cool guy. He doesn't do anything but sell drugs and play Left 4 Dead. Left 4 Dead is a peak game, bro. Oh my god, I love that game so much. It's a part of my childhood. Also, Combo's death led to many of the events in Season 4. Absolute legend. I feel like I love all the bald characters in Breaking Bad except for Ted. One last time. Ted sucks. That's not going to be the last time, but I just want you to remember that. Ted sucks. At number 8, we have the balding master Juan Bolza. Now, if you watched my villain ranking, you guys know how much I hated on Juan Bolza. He's basically just soy boy Don Eladio. And why would I rank a Soylent drinker high? Come on now. But despite my hate for Juan Bolza, I have to admit he's an important character in the Breaking Bad universe. So I gotta put him higher than Combo, which I love Combo, but Combo is not that important to the plot except for his death. So I have to put Juan Bolza above him. But Juan Bolza sucks as a villain, bro. Oh my god, he's just so lame. He's like twink version of Don Eladio. I'm sorry if there's any Juan Bolza enthusiasts out there, but I just don't care for the guy at all. And look what he did to Tortuga, bro. Tortuga was a peak character. How could you do that? But I gotta concede again, he is an important character, so I have to put him higher than I want to. At number 7, we have the suit-wearing guys, Salamanca twins. Now, the Salamanca twins are great as villains, not so much as characters in my opinion. They don't really do or say much, but that adds to their villain behavior, if that makes any sense. And I gotta be honest, bro, their fight with Hank is one of the best scenes in Breaking Bad. That episode is peak. And they really got that plot armor working against him. Like, you're about to kill Hank, but then you're like, nah, let me go get an axe where I leave a bullet right next to him with a gun. Like, come on, what did you think was going to happen? You forget that he's a main character and that he can't die? Come on, bro, just finish him off while you have the chance. Pause. Also, I like how they shot that salesman guy. I love the salesman guy, but that scene was goofy. I like that. Also, they're double bald. 2 bald characters in 1. That's double, bro. They're also probably one of the scariest villains in Breaking Bad, not including Better Call Saul. Alright, at number 6, I gotta do it, man. We have my boy Huel. Huel is the most feared man north of the border. Huel is a walking death machine. If anybody walks into a room with Huel, Huel's walking out unscathed. If you ask me who wins, Huel or the Doomslayer, I think it's a close fight. Huel is the cartel boogeyman. Also, I like how he scared Ted. That was great. Anytime Ted is suffering, it's a great scene. Huel is an absolute legend. Every single Breaking Bad fan knows it. If you like Breaking Bad and you don't like Huel, you're an op. Huel is an example of peak character writing in fiction. Huel is the man that keeps so many people up at night. Huel is an absolute legend in Breaking Bad. And the saddest moment in Breaking Bad is whenever Huel's crying. Oh, sad Huel, sad world. Also, Huel's a handsome man. I mean, look at him. Every single lady in Albuquerque would line up just to shake this guy's hand. That's how handsome he is. But I think you get the point. Huel is a great guy, great character. He's handsome, he's awesome. I told you I was a meat writer, and I wasn't lying. I'm a meat writer for Huel. At number 5, last chance to look at me, Hector. Serious question, how fast do you think Hector can go on his little vehicle he has? I mean, he's got weapons on that thing. It's like he's in Mad Max, but instead of cars, he has a wheelchair. Not to mention, he exploded in his pants. Absolute legend behavior for Hector right there. Whenever Hector exploded in his pants, that was the moment I fell in love with Breaking Bad. Not to mention, he's Tuco's uncle. Tuco's one of the best characters in Breaking Bad. Before he turned into a vegetable, this guy was one of the most feared men in Breaking Bad. All Hector needs now is some guns on his wheelchair. He'll be unstoppable. I don't know why, but every single time I think of Hector, I think of that video where it's like the Special Olympics and they're all in wheelchairs, and it has like Rocket League. They like boost into the air and hit the ball into the basket. I love that video. That's absolutely crazy. Am I a bad person for that? No, I'm not, because I said so. At number 4, we have my boy Mike. Now, I gotta be honest here. These next 4 characters you could put in any order, and I would not mind at all. These next 4 characters are some of the best characters in Breaking Bad. And Mike is an absolute legend and a Breaking Bad fan favorite. I love Mike because bro genuinely seems like a good guy even though he kills people and all. Mike actually cares about the people around him and does his best to get the best life for them. Mike is an absolute peak character, everybody knows it. And he's one of the coolest characters in Breaking Bad. I mean, he's just rad. I mean, look at him. I like his accent too, it's nice. And I love Jonathan Banks. Jonathan Banks seems like a great guy, and I love how he absolutely loves Breaking Bad and acting. He truly loves what he does. And I found Mike and Walt's gay relationship to be a very interesting part of the story. Alright, at number 3 we have the boss man, Hank. Hank's one of the most likable guys in Breaking Bad, and he's probably the objective protagonist of Breaking Bad. Hank is one of the most loved characters of the entire series. For a good reason. He's a really likable guy. He's also a pretty good person too, which is rare for the show. I love Hank, man. He's one of the chillest guys ever, and his death is one of the saddest scenes in the entire show. He's also responsible for some of the best scenes in the entire show. And Hank went out like an absolute boss. I love Hank, you love Hank, we all love Hank. Hank is a great character and one of the most lovable guys in the entire show. At number 2 we have Walter. Walter is the main character of Breaking Bad. I'm acting like you didn't know that, even though you did. I'm sorry for reiterating already known stuff, but come on. Walt is one of the best written characters in fiction, not just in the show, but in all of cinema, all of fiction, all of story writing. He is one of the best written characters of all time. He is also one of the smartest guys, if not the smartest guy, in the entire show. I mean, what can I say about Walt that you already don't know? Probably the only thing you're thinking is if Walt's not number 1, then who is? I mean, just look at my profile picture, bro, come on. The best bald character in Breaking Bad is without a doubt Jesse Pinkman. Now, you could argue that he's not really bald, but I'm going to say that he's bald in season 4 and 5 because, I mean, look at him. That's basically bald. Come on. And I want to talk about Jesse because he's my favorite Breaking Bad character of all time. Jesse's the reason why Breaking Bad starts because he helps Walt get into the business. I feel like Jesse's a better son to Walt than Walt Jr. ever was, bro. I gotta be honest. I think Jesse and Walt have a stronger connection than Walt has with his own son. Because with Walt and Walt Jr. in the show, we don't really see them bond that often. And it's clear that Walt really cares about Jesse, although he does do some bad things to Jesse. And seeing Jesse finally win in the end after everything he's been through was amazing. Jesse's my favorite character in Breaking Bad. He's a real one, everybody knows it. Jesse is the best Breaking Bad character of all time. I love everything about him. I'm a meat writer, I know, I've already said it, so you can't say it to me, I've already said it. But Jesse's amazing, we all know it. And that's it for the ranking. This was a pretty fast video, I think, compared to my other ones, but I wanted to try a more upbeat, shorter, fast-paced video type. I took a few days off of video creation to kind of regain, that strive I have for video creation, because now I feel like really excited to start making videos again after taking a little break, which I say a little break, it was 4 days, but still. I have a Breaking Bad video planned for my next video, but I'm always looking to strive and go to different types of franchises, video games, movies, TV shows. So if you have a movie, video game, TV show franchise you want me to talk about, please let me know in the comments, and I'll be down to do a video on it in the future probably. My big show right now I'm watching is Invincible, so expect some videos on that in the future. I'm not done with it, so I can't really make videos on it yet, but once I finish it, expect some videos on it in the future. But if you watched this far, thank you, it means so much. If you would subscribe, like the video, I would appreciate it a lot. And I think I got all I needed to say out of the way, so I'll see you in the next video. How's it going, everybody? Today we are going to be ranking the top 10 saddest episodes in all of Breaking Bad. I do want to talk about a few things before we get into it though. First off, a lot of people say that I stammer a lot, so hopefully that's better in this video. I'm trying to watch that now. And another thing, I know a lot of people found me due to my Breaking Bad content, but I want to make it clear, I am not just a Breaking Bad channel. Yeah, my Breaking Bad videos have done really well, that's why I keep doing them. But I want to be so much more than just a Breaking Bad channel. So if you like any kind of movies, TV shows, games, you should definitely subscribe because I'm going to make a ton of videos about that. Also, if you guys are into the Alien movie franchise, I made an Alien video if you guys want to watch that. It completely flopped, but I had a lot of fun making it and I really liked the video, so if you would watch it, it would mean a lot. And I will be making a Discord for the channel soon. I don't really know how that works because I never really used Discord, but I'll figure it out. Okay, other than that, I think that's all I wanted to talk about, so let's get into the top 10 saddest episodes in all of Breaking Bad. So I gotta make it clear, this is literally just going off of my memory and like a little bit of research. So if I missed an episode that you guys wanted to see on here, comment it down below and maybe I'll do a part 2. Okay, so the 10th saddest episode in all of Breaking Bad is not one that you're gonna think is gonna be on this list. It's the most memed on episode. It's Fly, actually. Hear me out. So contrary to the popular belief, Fly is not just an episode about Walt chasing a fly for 40 minutes. It's about Walt dealing with the guilt with Jane and all the other terrible things he's done and trying to gain power because that's all Walt cares about. And we get to see Walt almost confess to Jesse that he watched Jane die, which obviously he eventually does that, but he almost does it in this episode, and people forget about all these good moments in Fly. Fly is overshadowed by the base level plot. If you really think about Fly, it is a super complex episode, and I feel corny saying that, but it's the truth. Rewatch Fly with all the things I've said, and you start picking up on more things if you didn't like the episode. It's meant to show Walt's guilt and the pressure that's on Walt, and how Walt's trying to maintain control of a situation. I think I already said that already, but it's important to mention. I love Fly, and I think it's one of the most underrated episodes in all of Breaking Bad. It's also sad to see the mental state that Walt's in this episode. At number 9, we actually have the first ever Breaking Bad episode, Pilot. Not for the content that's actually in this episode, but for the impact it has on the Breaking Bad story. Mainly for the fact that this episode is the reason why Walt turned into the man that he would eventually become. If this episode never happened, Walt would be living a quiet, good life. Well, maybe not good in his standards, but good in the eyes of what's usually accepted as good and bad. Because Walt cares about power, being up top, all that. So, the reason why this episode isn't higher then is because this episode actually feels good for Walt, if that makes sense. The events that happened here kind of make Walt feel powerful. Like he said, he did it for himself. He felt alive. So this episode would be higher, but it was good for Walt in a way, depending on how you want to look at it, so it's going to be at the number 9 spot. At number 8, we have the episode Dead Freight in Season 5. Now, we all know what happened. We all know why this is on this list, but if you don't know, then I'll explain it to you. Todd pulls out his gun and shoots and kills a kid on a dirt bike. Yep. I mean, like, that's literally the only reason it's on this list. This episode's, by the way, top 10 best episodes in all of Breaking Bad. It's great. Amazing. I feel like I'm missing a lot of episodes on this list, but at number 7, we have End Times. Now, this episode's on here for 2 reasons. 1, Brock getting poisoned. That's bad. Number 2, Jesse and Walt's standoff in Walt's house. I mean, Walt almost gets killed, and Brock could have died. And the sad part is, Walt wouldn't have minded if Jesse shot him, because if Jesse shot him, that's a way better death than Gus was going to give Walt. And it really shows how desperate Walt is trying to get away from Gus. And they have the whole family hiding out, afraid of Gus and what he's going to do. I mean, the tension in this episode is absolutely unmatched. And poor Jesse, he keeps getting used in this episode over and over and over again. He's basically just a tool to get to Walt or Gus. It's literally called the End Times because anything could happen in this episode. Walt almost dies, Brock almost dies, Walt's family is in danger, everybody's just broken down and sad, and that's why it's on this list. At number 6, we have the episode Say My Name. Now, this episode's sad because literally one of the best Breaking Bad characters dies in it. That's why it's sad. But honestly, I think Mike was kind of wrong in his last speech because did he forget that Gus was trying to kill him and kill Jesse? Like, did you not expect Walt to not do anything about it and just accept it? The common sentiment is that Walt got owned in Mike's final speech, which, don't get me wrong, I love Mike, top 5 Breaking Bad character. I love the guy, but he was wrong. Like, can we just accept that? Now, what Walt did was wrong, killing Mike, of course. He shouldn't have killed Mike over that. But Mike isn't innocent either. Mike's a bad guy, and he was wrong about Walt being able to just cook and not have any problems in the world. Because while Walt was cooking and had a good relationship with Gus, Gus was literally actively trying to kill Jesse. So what did you expect Walt to do? But again, this is Mike's episode, and the scene where he has to leave his grandkid and run away, that made me tear up, I'm not gonna lie. I love Mike so much. It was such a perfect end to Mike. Jonathan Banks was crying at the set too, whenever Mike died. That made me tear up. I love Jonathan Banks. I love Mike. Such a good outing for his character, even though he was wrong in his final speech. At number 5, we have an episode that I actually thought I was gonna put higher on the list, but I forgot how many sad episodes there are in Breaking Bad. Number 5 is Full Measure. I loved Gale so much. It's such a shame, dude. And again, this is going to be a common trend in these rankings, but poor Jesse. He had to kill Gale to stay alive. He was in tears whenever he killed Gale. He didn't want to do it, but he had no choice. That's horrible. Something that really sticks out to me as like a sad episode is whenever there's helplessness. They have no choice to do the things that they have to do. And Walt almost gets killed for the 1000th time. This is also the first episode where we view Gus as a big villain, because before this, Gus and Walt were chill. Gus hated Jesse, but Gus liked Walt. I don't know if they really liked each other, but he respected Walt at least. I want to see some R.I.P. Gales in the comments section. At number 4, we have the series finale, Felina. Now, Walt kind of has a happy ending, but at the same time, he dies with everybody he loves hating him. And like I said, he dies. This is the episode where Walt dies. In that scene where he sees Skyler, Holly, and Walt Jr. for the last time, always brings a tear to my eye. This episode shows Walt having nothing to lose. Everything in his life is gone, and he has nothing to lose, and he's just trying to tie up loose ends. It's so interesting to watch this episode than watch the first episode and see how different of a person he is in just 2 years. It's like now in this episode, Walt is just a body without emotion. He feels nothing, and he just wants the best for his family and to free Jesse. And this is like one of the few times in the entire show where something actually decent happens to Jesse. Now, yeah, sure, he's been through hell, he's been traumatized, he's been beaten up, but he's free now. He can move to Alaska and start a new life. In my opinion, Felina is the best episode in all of Breaking Bad. I could talk about it for literally hours. Also, I have a question I think about time to time. At the end of Breaking Bad, who do you think Walt genuinely loves more? Walt Jr. or Jesse Pinkman? And honestly, I think he likes Jesse more. Sure, that's kind of crazy how I could say that he likes Jesse more than his own son, but it's clear that Walter Jr. doesn't really respect Walt. And Walt and Jesse have been through literally everything together. I don't know, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. At number 3, we have the episode that most people probably would have put number 1, but I'm going to explain why it's not. Ozymandias. This is the episode where everything falls apart. Hank dies. Gomi dies. Nobody talks about Gomi's death. Gomi is such a good character. I was so sad when he died and it just got overlooked by Hank's death. Everybody Walt has ever loved hates him now. Skyler literally tries to kill him. And that final phone call with Walt and Skyler when the police are there is heartbreaking. Now, the more I talk about it, the more I think I should put it number 1. But I'm not going to. I already made my choice. Oh, and Jesse gets kidnapped by the Nazis. Okay, I should probably just go ahead and say these next 3 episodes, including Ozymandias, obviously, 10 out of 10 sadness. They're some of the saddest episodes in TV history, because I was going to try to disprove why this is the saddest episode, and I don't really have a reason to disprove it. So we're just all going to say that these next 3 episodes, they're the same amount of sadness. At number 2, we have the Season 2 finale, ABQ. If you watched my Breaking Bad season finale ranking, you probably knew this was going to be on here somewhere. I mean, Jesse lost the love of his life. This has the highest death toll out of any Breaking Bad episode. Jane's dad's dealing with the grief of Jane's death. And Walt is feeling guilt about everything he's ever done. That's what the pink bear is. The pink bear is a symbolism of the things Walt's done and the guilt he has. Whenever Jesse's breaking down in that house with like a bunch of squatters, that could break someone, bro. That's horrible. I hate that for him. I love Jesse. He's my favorite Breaking Bad character. And the plane crash, obviously. I mean, that's the big event of the episode. It killed like 197 people, I think. Maybe I just pulled that number out of nowhere, but tell me if I'm wrong. Also, Skyler's going through it in this episode after she finds Walt's second cell phone. Also, I gotta say, whenever I say I hate Skyler in my videos, I don't actually really hate Skyler. There's a lot of people that I hate more. I think Marie is 100 times more annoying than Skyler. And Skyler did do some good with Walt. I feel like without Skyler, Walt would have been in jail quick. But this video isn't about Skyler, is it? So let's get into the number 1 saddest episode in Breaking Bad. The number 1 saddest episode in all of Breaking Bad is the second to last episode, Granite State. Everybody in this episode is at an all-time low. Walt can't even leave his house without being arrested, and everybody's actively trying to find him and arrest him, and everybody he's ever loved despises him now. Jesse's getting tortured and forced to cook meth, literally just so Todd can crack some buns. Marie lost her husband and she's dealing with that. Skyler's getting basically harassed by the police, and she has to take care of Walt Jr., Holly, and she's dealing with all the trauma from everything going down. And you obviously can't forget whenever Jesse tries to run away, the Nazis catch him and kill Andrea right in front of him. Aaron Paul is just so talented, it's insane. Like, he sells this performance so well. And Walt is literally falling apart. He's all skin and bone now. His wedding ring doesn't even fit on his finger. Everybody he's ever loved hates him, already said that. But he's just at rock bottom. There's nothing good going for Walt. The only guy that ended this episode better than he started is Ed, because he got a fat paycheck. Literally in this episode, nothing's good. There's no good. Everything is just detrimental. Everybody's just insanely depressed, traumatized, obviously. It's the saddest episode, come on. I mean, we can all agree on that, right? It's also the last time we see Saul in Breaking Bad, and Saul's life is ruined now because of that too, and he has to get a new identity again. If you didn't watch this episode and cried, you might be a sociopath, I'm not gonna lie. The ending for the episode is hype though, oh my god. Okay, so I think that's about it. Again, if you like the video, you should subscribe, like the video. I'm just starting out on YouTube, so it would help out a lot. The channel's doing really well in my opinion right now. I'm almost to the point where I can start getting monetized, so that's absolutely insane. I didn't think it was going to be this quick. And if you watch this far, that means so much, because that means that my content's actually somewhat worth watching, and that's okay with me. Okay, I want to do a Star Wars video next. I need a departure for Breaking Bad, because I've been making a lot of Breaking Bad content recently. I want to do something new again. And again, I'll probably be making a Discord for the channel right after I'm finished with this video, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, if there's any episodes that I missed, let me know. And I think that's about all I gotta say, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. How's it going, everybody? Today we are going to be ranking every Breaking Bad hero from worst to first. Now keep in mind, whenever I say hero, I am using that term very, very loosely. A lot of the people on this list are objectively seen as bad people, but let's be honest, there's not a lot of heroes in Breaking Bad, so I'm kind of nitpicking here. Now, the way I'm going to be ranking these characters could be seen as confusing, so let me lay out the three main ways we're going to rank these guys. Number one, of course, if they're a well-written character, they're going to be higher on the ranking. So you could see this as basically a character ranking of these characters that I've picked that are considered good in my opinion. And second, we're going to rank them on their actions and see the things that they've done and determine whether or not they are good or bad. And the third way we're going to rank it is how much I like the character. So yes, this list is going to be biased, I'm not going to lie. I mean, there's not that many heroes in Breaking Bad, so I'm kind of nitpicking here to come up with some. Also, another way we're going to rank it is they have to be an important character to the plot. With a few exceptions, I'm not going to talk about Brock, because I feel like I don't have much to say about Brock, he's just an average kid. And I will not be including Walt and Mike since I put them in my villain tier list, although they could be seen as good in some cases. Also, if you like the video, you should definitely subscribe, like the video, all that stuff that YouTubers tell you to do, because I'm just starting out on YouTube. I have dreams of being big on YouTube one day, and so that would really help out a lot. Okay, I've thought of 12 characters that could kind of be seen as a hero. Again, there's not really that many heroes in Breaking Bad, so I'm nitpicking here. And we're going to rank them from worst to first. At number 12, we have Andrea. She's not a bad character at all, but in my opinion, she is kind of boring. She's just kind of a worse version of Jane in my opinion. But there's nothing bad about her, but there's nothing interesting about her, so I have to put her in the last spot because I can think of something interesting about every other character. If you're an Andrea Gooner, I'm sorry, but she's in the last spot on my list. Her biggest character point is that she's Brock's mother. That's about it. Yeah, sure, she has a romance with Jesse, but that's not really that important in the grand scheme of the story, especially compared to Jane's love story. At number 11, we actually have two characters, Gretchen and Elliot. I'm just going to include them into one because they run as a package, basically. Now, they are really well-written characters. They just don't do much after, like, season 2. I really like their relationship with Walt, though. And they are really good people, but I just don't think they're as well-written as the upcoming characters. They are probably the best people, like, personality-wise, on this list, though. I mean, they have a reputation for giving donations out to people in need. They're great people, but I just can't put them over some of the upcoming characters. Also, I do want to mention something before we go further about my content. I feel like I'm not uploading as much as I want to. I went from uploading like once every other day to uploading every 4 days. I'm sorry, I gotta worry about real life stuff, okay? I know that's lame, but I do. Alright, let's get into the 10th spot. At number 10, we have the breakfast man himself, Walt Jr. Walt Jr.'s mad chill, bro, I'm not gonna lie. All he does is just eat breakfast at the beginning of the episode and then vanishes. I just love how he doesn't do like anything. And he's a good person. He's just a normal guy. I love Walt Jr., but I can't put him above some of the other people on this list, so I have to put him number 10. He doesn't do much, but every single time Walt Jr.'s in an episode, it makes an episode better. Also, whenever Walt and Walt Jr. go car shopping, that's one of the best scenes in Breaking Bad. And Walt Jr.'s last phone call to Walt was heartbreaking, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, he's a pretty good character. At number 9, we have probably the most hated person in the fandom, Skylar. Now, Skylar is not really a bad person. She does bad things, but that's mainly Walt's fault. I do think Skylar is overhated in my opinion. Yeah, sure, I do hate on Skylar sometimes, but that's just because it's fun. Like, I don't genuinely dislike Skylar or anything. A lot of people forget that Skylar could have ratted Walt out, but instead, she lied to keep Walt out of trouble. At the end of the day, she is just a victim of Walt's manipulation. Kind of like how Jesse is, although you could argue it's worse than Jesse's. So I think Skylar is a good person. She does the things she does to keep Walt out of trouble. And she's a well-written character, and she has a huge impact on the story. So she's going to be in the number 9 spot. Now at number 8, we have Jane. Now Jane might be a worse person than some of the other people, but I really like Jane as a character. I feel like most people do. Mainly for the fact that she was Jesse's whole world, and Jesse's my favorite character. And watching Jesse lose her broke my heart, man. Jesse and Jane's relationship is one of the highlights of season 2. Now, a pattern with a lot of these people is that they're just normal people, so I can't rank her higher than some other people because she, again, like I've said it for a few of these people, she doesn't do much. But she is just a basic normal person that did get into drugs, but it doesn't necessarily make you a bad person. So I'd say she's mainly a good person. She's nothing special or anything, that's why she's number 8, but she's good in the role she plays in the show. At number 7, I'm going to take back my complaints of a character not being too important in the story with Badger. Badger and the next person on this list, which, wonder who that could be, are the ultimate chill dudes of the Breaking Bad universe. We love Badger and the other person coming up next on here, and they're great friends. Again, this list is basically just turning into characters that I like more instead of how good they are, because they're drug dealers and they're over just some normal people. But I absolutely love Badger. I think he's a great character. Again, he doesn't do much, but I actually cared about him, and I'm glad that he made it through the show better than he started. I don't think there's a person on this earth that does not like Badger. He's a peak character, and if you disagree, you're an op. Now, you've probably figured it out by now, but at number 6, we have Skinny Pete. Just like Badger, he's the ultimate bro. He's just a chill dude. But he does play a bigger role than Badger, I'd say. But these two are interchangeable. You could switch them around, and I wouldn't mind. Now, are they really heroes, though? Not really, but they do seem to be deep down good people. But I mean, come on, there's really no real heroes in Breaking Bad, so I have to find someone. I feel like this video is just turning into random Breaking Bad character rankings, but it's alright. I gotta find some people. I really just wanted an excuse to talk about some of my favorite Breaking Bad characters that could be classified as good people, I'm not gonna lie. At number 5, we have the man himself, Huel. Now, is Huel really a good guy? I'm not sure. I feel like he just does whatever Saul and Walt tells him to, so he's not really a bad guy. He's just a guy trying to get by day to day. Give him a break. And if you're viewing it from Walt's point of view, Huel is a really good character. Just like I said with Badger and Skinny Pete, Huel is like one of the most universally loved characters in the whole show. He's an absolute legend and everybody knows it. At number 4, we have one of the two characters that people really consider an actual hero in the Breaking Bad universe, Steve Gomez. I love Steve, and I think he's one of the most underrated characters in Breaking Bad. I hate how his death is just forgotten about because Hank's happened right after it, but Steve's death, it hurt, man. He's straight up just Hank's best friend. He's just a happy, good dude. Now, is he a good written character? Kind of. There's nothing that really stands out about him, but I really like him for some reason. And he is really morally good, so I put him at 4. I love Steve Gomez. I feel like most people like Steve Gomez, even though he's not that big of a character. I really like the guy for some reason. At number 3, we have, again, someone that's not that good of a person, but I think personality-wise, he is a very good person, and that's Gale. If Gale wasn't in the drug business, I feel like he would be very respected and loved by the people around him. You can tell that Gale is more than just a drug producer. Gale is one of the sweetest guys in the entire Breaking Bad franchise. He's just always happy, optimistic, and I love that about him. I feel like everybody loves Gale, and Gale's death broke my heart. But yeah, he does manufacture drugs, so he's not that good of a person. But deep down, Gale is a good guy, no matter what he does. He just happens to be really good at cooking meth, so he can't help it. I just really love Gale's character and how he's written into the story. That's why he's so high up. Gale is a very unique character in the Breaking Bad universe, where he's a lot like Walt. He's a good man in the wrong business. I also loved Walt and Gale's relationship until Jesse was getting threatened by Gus. I mean, they really seem to get along very well, and Gale's basically just a younger version of Walt, so that makes sense. I feel like Gale is like oddly innocent and kind whenever he's in a drug business. So yeah, Gale's an absolute legend, deep down a great person even though he is a drug producer. But at the end of the day, I do love Gale, and he's a great character, and that's why he's in the top 3. At number 2, we have the character that most people would put at number 1 when you talk about characters, and that's Hank. Hank is legit one of my favorite Breaking Bad characters, and I don't feel like that's a hot take at all. Hank really does care about the people around him, and he has a great heart, and he determines his whole life's work on finding Heisenberg and getting justice. Hank is a great inspiration to the people around him. Take Walt Jr. for example. It's like Walt Jr. respects Hank more than he respects Walt Sr. And yeah, while Hank might have this big ego, deep down, Hank is a great guy, just looking out for the people that he loves. And obviously, if you look at Breaking Bad objectively, most people would say that Hank is the protagonist. Also, it speaks a lot to his character about how much he cares about justice whenever he goes after Walt, because that's a loved one that he's dealing with there, but he doesn't hesitate at all. Hank is the epitome of a good guy in the Breaking Bad universe. And while he might be one of the best morally good guys, he is not my favorite hero in Breaking Bad. Again, hero in quotes. Because my number 1 spot, as you might have picked up throughout this video, is Jesse Pinkman. Jesse Pinkman is a good kid in a bad world. A lot of you guys might be saying that, Jesse murdered people. He's not a good guy. Which most of these people aren't really good guys. But Jesse never murdered anybody just because he wanted to. He murdered them out of bare necessity, and he had no choice. It speaks a lot about Jesse's character whenever after Todd kills the kid, he doesn't want Todd to die because Jesse doesn't want anybody to die. Some people look at Jesse and think he's just a druggy loser, but what he really is a broken man. I mean, Jesse's my favorite Breaking Bad character, so if he's going to be in a ranking, he's probably going to be number 1. Again, Jesse could be viewed as a protagonist depending on how you look at it, but Jesse's not a bad guy. We can all agree on that, right? Every bad thing he's ever done, he did it because he had to, or he was forced to. Jesse genuinely seems like an amazing person. A lot of people get distracted from that too because of his drug life, but Jesse's deep down a really good person, overshadowed by the crime empire he's a part of. And that's about it for the ranking. Let me know what you guys think. I think this video is kind of random and kind of stupid, but I had fun making it, so hopefully you guys enjoyed it because that's the whole point. If you guys don't like the videos, then what's the point of me making them? But yeah, if you like the video, that means a lot because that means that my videos are at least somewhat worth watching, and that's okay with me. The channel's been doing so well recently, mainly for my standards. I mean, we gained 100 subs in 4 days. That's crazy to me. And again, I'm just starting out on YouTube, so if you would subscribe, like the video, it would mean more than you could ever know. So if you watched this far, thank you. It means so much because people actually watch my videos. That if I'm doing all this for nothing, that would suck, right? But yeah, I think that's about it. So goodbye. See you in the next video. Hello, everybody. Today we're going to be ranking every Breaking Bad villain from worst to first. Whenever I was making the list for this video, I didn't know how many villains there were in Breaking Bad. It never occurred to me, but we have 16 villains we're going to rank from worst to first. But first, if you liked the video, you should subscribe. I have goals of being big on YouTube one day. I put a lot of time into these videos, so if you would subscribe, it would mean a lot. The videos are only going to get better from here. I should probably mention that there will not be any Better Call Saul villains because I haven't finished Better Call Saul yet. And I don't want to rank villains of a show that I haven't finished, it just wouldn't be right. Also, one last thing before we start, there will be spoilers in this video for Breaking Bad, so if you don't want to see that, just click off the video. Okay, let's get into it with our number 16 spot, and that's going to the two gangsters that hired that kid to kill Combo that Jesse tries to go and kill, but Walt runs them over. Yeah, they don't even have names. These guys are literally just here to get run over and shot by Walt to continue the Walt and Gus storyline and the Gale storyline. That's literally all they do, and Combo gets killed, but Combo wasn't a very important character, although I did like Combo. But yeah, these guys just don't really do much, and that's why they're in the last spot compared to these other guys. They're not that important, but they're still a villain, so I still have to rank them. Number 15, we have Juan Bolsa. Now, this guy actually has a name, and he's an important character in Better Call Saul and the Breaking Bad universe as a whole. But in Breaking Bad by itself, Juan Bolsa doesn't do anything. The biggest thing he does is he's on a phone call with Gus, and he gets his house raided and gets killed. So that's literally the biggest part about his character. So I can't put him above any other people. But this guy actually has a name, so I can put him above the rival gang members. At number 14, we got my boy Emilio. He's only in the first 2 episodes, I'm pretty sure, but he's better than Juan Bolsa and the other guy, so yeah, he has to be here. The biggest thing Emilio does was literally get dissolved and fall through Jesse Pinkman's floor, which was absolutely disgusting. I don't even know if I can show it. I'm going to censor it just in case. But yeah, other than that, he's just kind of there. He's definitely the least important member of the Crazy 8 Emilio little duo they got going on. But yeah, that's about all I got to say about him. Number 13, we have Victor, one of Gus's henchmen. Now, the way I feel about Victor is very similar to the way I feel about Emilio. He's just kind of a worse version of someone that's in the same position as him, aka Tyrus. I just kind of found him annoying at some parts, and I was never once intimidated by Victor, but he is a very important character, and he has one of the best deaths in the entire show. Oh my god, I didn't like you, Victor, but you didn't deserve that. Again, I think his actor does a good job portraying Victor. I just don't think Victor's a very interesting character. His death is the best part about his character, which kind of sucks, but it's such a good way to go out for such a mid character. Speaking of Tyrus, at number 12, we have Tyrus. Now, like I said, Tyrus is literally just a better version of Victor, so I have to put him above Victor. Because Tyrus was actually intimidating, I think, but at the same time, Tyrus literally didn't do anything other than, getting bombed along with Gus and the Hector thing. But I do think Victor's overall a pretty underrated villain. I think he's a good character. I think he's well written. I just wish he did more, had more screen time. But he's better than Victor, though, so. At number 11, we got Don Eladio. Now, Don Eladio, kind of like how Tyrus is a better version of Victor, Don Eladio is a better version of Juan Bolsa. And you actually feel like this guy's got some power, you feel me? You can tell this guy's the real deal whenever you look at him. With a lot of these villains this far down, I just wish, my big complaint is that I wish we got more of them. Because with Don Eladio, he really shines in the Salute episode where he gets poisoned. But, in that episode, you can kind of tell, yeah, this guy's the big cartel leader, dude, and he should be feared. Just from, everything about him, his charisma, the way he looks, literally everything. And I feel like that's what makes him so powerful. I don't look at Juan Bolsa, again, might be saying his name wrong. I don't really remember how you say it. But you look at him and you're like, okay, well, it's been told that he's a big cartel guy, so I'm assuming he's a big cartel guy. Whenever you look at Don Eladio, you're like, oh yeah, this guy's the real deal. And I feel like that's what makes him so good as a character. And at number 10, we have Lydia. Now, a lot of people think that 10 is too high for Lydia, but you gotta understand, there is no character in Breaking Bad other than a few exceptions that I genuinely just hate whenever they show up on the screen. They just ruin my mood. And that's what makes Lydia such a good villain. You genuinely despise her. And you don't despise her because she kills a lot of people you love, even though she does try to get Walt killed at the end of Breaking Bad. That's why she's classified as a villain here. Without that, I don't think you'd really classify her as a villain. But there's no character in Breaking Bad that I hate more than Lydia. And that's what makes her such a good villain. At number 9, we're getting into the villains that I'm really excited to talk about. We got Crazy 8. I already talked about Crazy 8 in the Emilio section quite a bit, I feel like. But Crazy 8 is so much better than Emilio because he's like an actual character. Emilio was in one episode and then got like disintegrated. But Crazy 8, dude, the way he kind of like I think is the right word, manipulates Walt into feeling bad for him even though Crazy 8 tried to kill him. And then he was going to turn and murder Walt after Walt freed him. It's just perfect, dude. Crazy 8 is such a good villain, but he was only in the first 2 episodes of Breaking Bad. I know he's in Better Call Saul, but I haven't finished Better Call Saul, so I can't talk about that. But Crazy 8, great villain. He's also the first real villain we have in the Breaking Bad universe since he's in the first few episodes. And he's Walt's first like real murder other than Emilio. So yeah, Crazy 8, he's a great villain and a good starter villain. At number 8, we got my boy Hector. Now Hector's this high up literally just because of one scene, and you know the scene. Now the only real villain-like things that he does in Breaking Bad, not Better Call Saul. I know he's an absolute menace in Better Call Saul. But in Breaking Bad, he's really just like noticeably a villain in flashbacks and in the whole Tuco, Walt, Jesse situation. At number 7, we got Jack. Sure, he's not as iconic as Hector, but you hate Jack. I hate Jack. We all hate Jack. Jack sucks. But that's what makes him such a good villain. Everybody hates him. Like, you cannot like this guy. He killed Hank. He killed Gomi. And then he captures and tortures Jesse until the final episode. Like, dude, is like absolute the devil. Like, nobody likes him. He sucks. But that's what makes him such a good villain. Like I said with Lydia, if you genuinely hate a character, that makes a good villain. But I hate Jack more than I hate Lydia, if I'm being honest. So I have to put Jack above her. At number 6, we have my boy Todd. Now, Todd is such an interesting character in my opinion because he, like, deep down thinks that he's such a good guy, but he's an actual psychopath. But, like, Todd will, like, make you root for the guy. Like, he'll do something good, make you like the guy, and then he does something absolutely insane to remind you why he's actually a villain. Like, whatever, like, before he shot that kid, you're like, oh, this Todd guy seems like a good guy. And then he shoots the kid, and you're like, oh. But then after that, he does some good again, and then you see him torturing Jesse, and you're like, oh, yeah, he's bad. Like, his whole character is a child killer psychopath that goons to Lydia. Like, that's Todd. Okay, at number 5, we have the Salamanca twins, aka the Cousins. Now, the Cousins are ranked this high literally just because of how scary they are. Like, you cannot lie. Whenever the Cousins are on screen, you start to pucker your booty hole a little bit, dude. Like, oh my god, these guys are terrifying. And their fight with Hank is one of the best scenes in Breaking Bad, in my opinion. But, other than that, they don't really do much. But they're just really intimidating and scary. And they're great villains. Okay, so for number 4, we got my boy Tuco. Now, I love Tuco. Everybody loves Tuco. Literally, my only complaint with Tuco is that we didn't get enough of him. He's only in like a few episodes of Breaking Bad. But those episodes he's in, he is the best part about every single one, pretty much. Especially Season 2, Episode 2. That's a top 5 episode of Breaking Bad. Which, speaking of episodes of Breaking Bad, I might do a whole long video of me ranking Breaking Bad episodes. So if you guys want to see that, let me know. I absolutely love Tuco, and he fought xenomorphs in Alien Resurrection, so he's just an absolute stud. Tuco is the best Salamanca in my opinion. Absolute peak villain. I love Tuco. Great character. Anyone that disagrees is objectively wrong. At number 3, we have someone that's not technically a villain, but if you watch Season 3 and some of Season 4, and you're looking at it through Walt's perspective, he would be a villain, and that's Mike. So Mike is an absolute 10 out of 10 character, that's no question. But as a villain, I don't really know. He's just one of Gus's right-hand man. Well, he is Gus's right-hand man, and that's what kind of paints him as a villain. But really in Season 5, he's not a villain. He's just kind of a part of the crew. But in Seasons 3 to 4, and he's in Season 2, but at the very end, you could kind of view him as a villain, so I put him here just because of, you know, him trying to kill Walt because Gus tells him to. And he just genuinely despises Walt the whole series. So you could make the argument he's not a villain, but I'm going to include him as a villain. And I want to talk about Mike because he's such a good character. Everybody loves Mike. Everybody loves Jonathan Banks, I think his name is, the actor for him. Everybody loves him. And yeah, Mike number 3. At number 2, we have the Chicken Man himself, Gus Fring. Gus Fring is such an interesting villain in my opinion. Because if you looked at Gus Fring on the surface compared to people like the Cousins or Tuco, you'd be like, okay, he's not that scary. But Gus is like a wolf in sheep's clothing, as they say. I feel corny saying that, but just hear me out. He, on the surface level, he just seems like a normal, nice guy. But dude's an absolute menace. He has literally the whole southern border of the U.S. like under his control, basically. He has resources, assets to work with. If he wants something, he will get it done. If he wants you dead, you will be dead. And if he has a box cutter, someone's going to get their throat slit. Everybody loves Gus. Most people would put him number 1. But I have a number 1 that most people wouldn't classify as a villain. But he is. We can all agree if you look objectively, he's the villain. So Gus, absolute great villain. And so at number 1, the placement you've been waiting for all video, the best villain in Breaking Bad is Walter White himself. I mean, even though Walt's the main character, he's an absolute horrible guy. He's a great character, but everything bad that happens in this show happens because of Walt and Walt's ego. That's another thing. Walt's ego, he puts his ego over literally everything else. So whenever someone tries to talk down to him, he kills them, such as Mike and other people like him. And that's what makes him such a good character, because you can kind of understand where Walt's coming from, but he is the villain. Everything bad that happens in this show happens because of Walt for the most part. And that's what makes him such a good villain / protagonist. You know, whenever a movie, video game, whatever, has like the objective antagonist being in a protagonist role, I love whenever they do that. It's great. I love it. It's super unique. Absolute great protagonist / villain. Walter White is one of the greatest characters in all of fiction in my opinion, and I feel like most people would agree. Alright guys, I think that's about it for the ranking. If you like the video, you should subscribe, like the video. You know, all that stuff YouTubers tell you to do. We would appreciate it a lot. I would appreciate it. It would mean a lot. So, thanks for watching to the end of this video, because that means that my videos are at least somewhat watchable, and that's good enough for me, man. But thank you for watching. It means a lot, and goodbye. Hello everybody, today we are going to be ranking every Breaking Bad season finale from worst to first. Before we get into it though, you should definitely subscribe. I'm just starting out on YouTube and I would appreciate it a lot. I have goals of being big on YouTube one day. Also, just a side thing I want to talk about, I just dropped a video on Revenge of the Sith if you're into Star Wars. I loved making that video, I loved that video, but it absolutely flopped. So if you want to check that out after this video, I would appreciate it a lot. Okay, enough yapping. If you liked the video, you should subscribe, and let's get into the ranking. I want to mention 2 things first, though. I know I said I'd stop yapping, but I feel like I need to mention them. Just because I rank a finale low does not make it bad. I don't think there's a single bad finale for Breaking Bad. And another thing, we're going to be including Season 5, Episode 8 as a finale, because there's a whole, year break in between. And most people genuinely consider the first half of Season 5 and the second half... Oh my god, I cannot talk. Most people genuinely consider the first half of Season 5 and the second half of Season 5 to be 2 different seasons. There we go, got it that time. Okay, now I'm done yapping. Let's get into the ranking. In last place, we have Season 1, Episode 7, a no rough stuff type deal. Now, it is just a good episode. There's nothing wrong with it, but it is nothing compared to the other ones coming up. I'm not gonna lie though, the barrel heist scene is pretty cool. That scene's really good. It's a barrel. It rolls. And the infamous Tuco dealing scene where he beats his own partner to death for meat riding him too hard. So it's a pretty good episode. I'd probably give it like an 8 out of 10. The only reason it's last is because the other 5 we're gonna talk about are absolute masterpieces. Next 2, I was stressing over ranking because I legitimately don't know which one I would put over the other. But I eventually settled with that number 5. We have the Season 5, Episode 8, mid-season finale, Gliding Overall, where Hank finds out Walt is Heisenberg. Now, most people would probably rank this higher, but I feel like the other finales are better as finales. But this specific episode is still a masterpiece because it is the moment that we have been waiting for the whole series, where Hank finds out that Walt is actually Heisenberg. Now, the more I think about it, the more I think I should probably rank this higher. But just let it be known that this episode is amazing. But it is not technically a finale, even though we are including it as one. So I don't really want to put it above the next one on the list, because I really love that one too. All these finales for the rest of the video are masterpieces. Gliding overall is a masterpiece, but I don't think it's as good as some of the other ones coming up later. Although I would give it like a 9 out of 10. It's one of the best Breaking Bad episodes. So at number 4, we have an episode that was much better than I remembered it being, and that's ABQ. I'm not gonna lie, this episode might be a contender for the saddest episode in all of Breaking Bad, and that's saying something. Because obviously Jesse loses Jane, and he's dealing with the trauma from that. And then Jane's dad eventually causes the death of over 200 people, and so that's weighing on the guilt of both Jesse and Walt, because Walt secretly broke in and kind of made Jane's death happen. Also in this episode, we're introduced to one of the best Breaking Bad characters, Mike Ehrmantraut. Also, this episode probably has the highest kill count of any Breaking Bad episode, by quite a wide margin. After further research, it wasn't over 200 people, but it was still 167 people that died in one episode. So yeah, ABQ is actually a pretty underrated episode. I don't feel like people really put it in the conversation of best finales, but I think it's definitely up there. It's in the top 4, obviously. Now we're entering the top 3. Keep in mind, all of these next episodes are 10 out of 10. These are some of the best episodes in Breaking Bad. As you've probably figured out with the picture, number 3 is Full Measure from the Season 3 finale. Now, Full Measure legitimately might be one of my favorite episodes in all of Breaking Bad. And R.I.P. Gale in the comments section. He had to go, but I absolutely love Gale. Also, this is really the first episode we kind of view Gus as the main villain to Walter. Because before this, Gus and Walt actually had a pretty good relationship. It was mainly Jesse that Gus hated. But the best part of the episode is like the final, 10-20 minutes, whenever Walt and Victor have to kill Walt with Gus's orders, but Walt outsmarts him and leads to Jesse killing Gale. In the 3-episode run with Half Measure, Full Measure, and then Box Cutter, one of the best 3-episode runs in history. Straight up, in history. Okay, now the final 2. I feel like everybody that clicked on this video knew it was going to come between these 2 episodes. So, which episode is going at number 2? So, the number 2 best finale in Breaking Bad is Face Off. Face Off is the ultimate cat and mouse episode with Walter and Gus. Gus is trying to find a way to kill Walt without losing Jesse. And Walt's trying to find a way to kill Gus before Gus kills Walt. That's oversimplifying it a lot, obviously. This whole episode leads to the climax with Hector and Gus. Also, most people talk about just Gus's death, but Hector's death, what a great way to go out. I think it was the best way Hector could have possibly gone out. But yeah, Gus's death is probably one of the coolest deaths, if not the coolest death, in the whole Breaking Bad franchise. Also, the Breaking Bad crew didn't know if Season 5 was going to exist. So they wanted to create a satisfying conclusion that if Season 4 was the last season, then fans would be pleased. But Hank would have never found out that Walt was Heisenberg, and we would never get to see Walt in the boss position. But other than that, it would have been fine. Like, the first time I was watching Face Off, I was like, this feels like a series finale instead of a season finale. But it's just a season finale, obviously. I mean, Captain Obvious over here. Also, I have to mention the insane plot twist at the end. Okay, now it's time for the number 1 ranking. And with process of elimination, you've determined that the best season finale in Breaking Bad is Fly, baby! Yeah! Alright, it's Felina. We all knew it before we clicked on the video. Felina, in my opinion, is the best episode in Breaking Bad. And I love how Walt didn't technically have a good ending, but he had a fulfilling ending. He tied up all the loose ends. He had the chance to say goodbye to his wife and daughter. He looked on his son for the last time. he saved Jesse and killed all the Nazi guys. A lot of people complain that everything went too perfectly for Walt, but I think you're just hating. I think it was perfect. Walt didn't have a good ending. He had a fulfilling ending. He had an ending that was a little better than what he deserved, if we're being honest. He died. Everybody he loved hates him. But at the end, he saved Jesse. He avenged Hank. And he felt satisfied. So yeah, Felina is the best finale in any season of Breaking Bad. That's going to be the end of the video. If you liked it, you should definitely subscribe. I had a lot of fun making it, and the videos are just going to get better from here.